clean up in aisle 5. You're gonna need tear gas, pepper spray, and assault gear just to listen to this show.
Sasquatch, the moon landing, UFOs, 9/11, flat earth, JFK. All of these things have one thing in common: unanswered questions. So let's get to the bottom of that.
Now here's something completely random.
Animals in action, animals in action.
Random.
We using that in the intro?
Thank you and good night.
Dice Man Enterprises exclusively presents a talk show that will get to the bottom of things once and for all. And now here's your host for Let's Get to the Bottom of That, a bunch of weirdos on a mic.
And then I looked over and I said, what does your uncle think about that? And she said, I don't even have an uncle.
You know what I mean?
Oh, Paul. Welcome.
Oh, Paul.
Welcome into another episode of Let's Get to the Bottom of That. What are we getting to the bottom of today?
Paul in the Bible.
Well, yeah, the Epistle of Paul. We're not talking about that today. That's probably a new episode. But today we're talking about Jack the Ripper and hookers, right? and hookers. Today's
Mostly
brought to you
hookers.
today. Jack the Ripper rips into the heart of hookers in Whitechapel, London.
Today at 6.
Yeah, let's go to Curtis.
Oh, is that a Jabberwocky?
Dude, you look really freaky in that.
Hello.
Seriously. So, do you have a hat from a listener today?
No, I bought this one.
Hold on, he's working on it.
What's that?
It's for Tree Day.
Tree Day.
Yeah, I found it on Instagram.
Bunch of hippies.
Are they just looking for things
Tree
to
Day?
celebrate?
I
or-
think so.
They are, but I love trees and I love days, so I figured it was
The Lorax.
it was all in
Wow.
one, man.
The Lorax, yeah.
Yeah, you can call me the Lorax.
Is anybody, if anybody wants to give you a hat to shout out, where do they go?
P.O. Box 68, Peculiar, Missouri 64078, and please include your handle on Instagram or wherever you want me to shout out.
Yeah,
'cause I
whatever
will be
the
shouting it out.
name that you want us to use on air, let us know that name.
And
it
keep
could
it-
be Billy Puckett.
Keep in mind that we release these once a week, but we record once a month.
Nice.
So, if you send me a hat,
Be patient.
because it will get on the air. I will wear it. And last episode, we had a hat that said something a little,
A little off kilter.
little goofy, little off color.
No, I loved it.
but
Oh,
it,
it is.
but it
It
was
is.
funny.
But then
It's
Byron
kinda-
flipped me off, so
It's kind of real.
Yeah. So, anyway, check out last episode. And Byron's flipping
Oh, he's
everybody
doing
off.
it again.
It's just a finger.
It's
This
just a
guy's
finger.
off the
What are you
rails,
talking about?
man. Hey, how are my levels good? They seem a little,
They feel. Or you mean I'll bump
sound
you up a
good.
bit.
bump me just a.
Whoa.
Oh,
Like-
come on now.
Come on.
Everybody's been.
Bump, bump,
I'm gonna bump everybody up, and it's just gonna be my.
Give me
ears
a
will-
bump.
My ears will.
I think we just need.
Oh yeah.
All right, somebody freestyle. Check it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
All right.
Boppity, boppity,
It's been on me too long.
As you can tell, we've been doing the show for quite a while today.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of episodes.
Here's Jason.
Hey!
Sleep again.
Jason's here.
What do you say, Jason? What's up? Is your mic on?
Help me.
All the weirdos are in studio. Here's Joey.
Hang on one second.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. COVID.
Measles.
Oh, speaking of measles, you
Hey.
heard about that outbreak?
Yeah.
Who was talking to me about that earlier?
Oh, in Kansas?
That was
No,
Robert.
down in Texas.
Oh, that was smallpox in Kansas.
Robert
Small-
Kennedy.
I think so.
Well, no, somebody was talking to me about
Joey
it.
Joey brought it up. RFK.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's freaking out
Everyone's
because
freaking out.
oh, the measles are killing the unvaxxed. And you made mention that hey, you had just as many. You had an outbreak last
He
year.
had more last year.
Yeah, so stop it. Just think the COVID thing. We're like, look, we're dying more than when we had the flu. No, we haven't.
Bro, they got the best person in that role because
You think?
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, his half of his career was literally going up against like big pharmaceutical companies, like class action lawsuits.
That's beautiful.
If we try to, we've done impersonations on the show, but if we try to impersonate him, that's just too far.
He's like, well, I mean,
Oh, come on. Be nice to the guy. He's doing a good job.
Yeah,
he's doing a great job.
I don't know why that struck me.
Hey, you can only make fun of him if you can do as many push-ups as he can.
See, that
he's
was
a
loud.
man.
I'm gonna break you down a little bit right here.
Bring him down.
What are we talking about? Let's go to Byron's camera. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Let's Get to the Bottom of that podcast. We're talking about Jack the Ripper today, which, by the way, I like to call out the people that bring these shows to light, which today's episode is brought to you by Jason.
Hello.
Stand up and take a bow.
Jason's the one that brought this when he said, let's do Jack the Ripper.
It's true.
And I thought, if I'm not mistaken, that you told me that you were a long-lost relative of Jack when you did your DNA test.
No, that never happened.
What?
You just made that up. That never happened.
I thought
So what does Jason mean?
it means Jacob,
Jason, it means
son of Jay.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah,
From the Old
Jason.
English word.
It's
Jason.
Greek, and
It's Greek?
it means
Son of Jay.
healing or healer.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Was that
What are
on
you
a
healing?
fortune cookie?
No,
Dude,
no.
we
I'm just
That's
messing with you.
that's what a shaman.
we love
told me.
riffing on each other, don't we?
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Did you say you got it from a shaman?
Yeah,
Okay.
We're
Do you
all
have a
riffs.
middle name?
I do.
Okay. So see,
I'm not gonna say it though.
says I was saying it took him forever to get on camera and talk about where he's from.
Yeah.
We're not getting middle names.
No, and my middle name's Whack.
I bet you it's Lee. Oh, your middle name's Whack?
Jason Lee.
Jason Whack?
Wait a minute. What was that guy's name you talked about earlier?
Lee Harvey? Oswald?
You kind of look like
Why
him
not
today.
just come out of nowhere? I mean, Lee Harvey was just sitting right there.
It's just back in there rattling
No,
around.
Tom Paulson.
Yeah, Robert Paulson.
Robert Paulson. His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah.
His name was Bob Paulson.
Hey, there was a guy where he still worked. He worked at a radio station. He used to call in. His name was Steve Paulsack.
Paulsack.
I'm not kidding. And every time he did it, I would mute the mic and go ball sack. But
Oh, man, it's the ones that catch
Am I
you
di-
off guard.
am I digressing?
Anyway, Paul.
Well, let me talk to you.
You know, though.
When you know, if you know,
Wait.
you know.
Wait. Okay.
I
I appreciate all the listeners that are tuned into this episode.
Yeah.
Fast forward.
We accept
Hey,
everybody.
matter of fact, everybody likes this.
We accept everybody.
This is
with
this is
arms
called
wide
the
open,
intro.
okay?
This is called the intro to the show. I mean, this is what we have to get through
Yeah.
before we get to the top,
Right.
right? Well, we can't just jump in here.
We do have a lot, though.
We
We have a
well,
ridiculous
we've got
amount.
hours.
We got to prime them up. This is our foreplay.
Foreplay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't just
Easy.
start out of the gate.
Yeah,
This is our tool
Let-
to get
we
in.
got to prime them up. Come
Right.
on.
Yeah, we're lathering right now, baby.
Oh, I want to. Hey, shout out little Guapo for guest hosting
Oh yeah.
the Nephilim 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You want to interact with him? Get on our Discord.
listen, yeah, Discord will be in the description if you want to pop in there.
Let's
Yep.
get to the bottom.
But this
of
is interesting here. Oh man, I had it in my brain. You interrupted me and I lost
Sorry.
it. Little Guapo, Discord. Oh,
Episode.
Nephilim 4. Thank you. You brought it home. Nephilim 4.
Uh huh.
We've done series. We've done secret societies. We've done
Colts.
cults. But Nephilim, this Nephilim has been the most. It's been the fourth topic. We've not hit one except for January 6th because we had a guest on that was there on the grounds.
Yeah.
But Nephilim 4. Maybe this should turn in just a Nephilim
Channel.
episode.
There's a
Yeah.
Well, I think
Welcome to
that's-
the Nephilim podcast.
The Spodcast.
Isn't
all
that
things-
what the that's what those blurry guys did? Didn't they start Nephilim and they just never stopped and they just kept
No,
building
they
up?
have all kind of things. They have great guests, by the way.
Do they?
Nephilim.
I
could
would
be our
love to get some of the
creed.
guests.
No, I don't want any of their guests.
Are
We're
you
gonna make new
serious?
guests. Okay.
If we
Bob
come together
last-
as a collective soul, I'm willing to do.
Well, I don't know if I can grunge on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I don't know. We do it enough. It'll put us into Nirvana. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
I mean, at some point, we got to state our creed.
yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do indeed.
Yeah. And then, I mean,
Honestly,
sometimes I like, when I find like pearls, I sometimes like to jam when I find them.
You know,
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I know, and then we say some things, and sometimes it might sting.
It might sting. And then other times when you're on a table and it's kind of rickety, you think, why do I have this slip knot?
and I think
Yeah.
I
In my
think some
hand.
people like to call the police.
Some
Right.
people do.
You know,
And sometimes the police, they look like blondies.
What the hell is going on?
And sometimes they'll come get you when there's a bunch of men at your work.
Right.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
You don't know.
Still doing?
They take
still
you to a line down
Still
under.
going?
yeah.
Well, it makes your third eye blind, for one.
That's true. It does.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Jeez.
I mean, Jason, you just need to accept us with
Hey,
arms
you
wide
guys
open.
need to
okay?
go.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys need to go.
Arms wide open,
Hey,
dude.
stop. You guys need to go 3 doors down. Okay.
Thank. He's in there.
All right, very
All right,
cool.
I'm going to go an overview right here. Jack the Ripper is one of history's most infamous, unidentified serial killers.
What does infamous mean?
I think it means he's infamous.
Okay.
He's
Like
so
he's
famous. He's
that he's-
infamous.
He's infamous.
He's
So
in
I've
the
never-
word famous.
Right. He's infamous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't they just say the most famous?
Because he's in.
Who
Because
wrote
he's
this?
so famous.
Wikipedia?
He
there?
is famous.
Thank you, chat. He's a serial killer. He's active in the Whitechapel, not to be
What?
confused with chapel.
That's a good band. actually.
Whitechapel district of London. Guess where? In 1888.
88.
Wow.
I
We're
knew
going
that.
back in the Wayback Machine, bros.
Now, this was before the Titanic sank.
Are you serious? When was that?
1913.
Oh, by the way, somebody was making mention of how I always act dumb,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, they didn't like it. Byron, why are you always trying to act dumb and stupid? I was really genuinely
Stupid.
stupid right there.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely stupid.
I'm
Very
really
dumb.
just
It's
dumb.
not an act.
I'm not stupid. I
that
just play one on TV.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if y'all knew this, but y'all did comment. The dude that saw the short, me and Jason was doing the live stream, and we were talking about there was a humpback whale that grabbed on and actually swallowed a dude in a kayak.
I saw that.
And he was like, I was waiting to see the humpback whale. Instead, I saw 20 seconds of a human whale.
Oh,
What a
yeah.
jerk.
What a.
Yeah, and everybody was
a-hole.
y'all defended me well. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
20 seconds of human whale.
that's silly.
The killer is believed to
mean.
have murdered at least 5 women. And if I'm not mistaken, they're all hookers.
Well,
Hookers.
we'll see.
Hookers. Often referred to as the Canonical Five.
Hooker.
Or is
I
that
hardly even
canonical?
knew her.
Is that canonical?
No. Okay.
Rachel Perry?
Canonical.
I think it's canonical.
Topical.
Is Paul Cannon?
Canonical.
Yes, he is.
Stop talking about Paul. We're going to get into a debate that doesn't have anything to do
Listen.
with Jack the Ripper.
Paul said that these victims were primarily prostitutes, and their bodies were found with gruesome mutilations, suggesting there was a level of anatomical knowledge. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to go over some key facts, and I'm going to throw it to Joey,
Yeah.
and he's going to give us some like headlines from that.
Joey's like the.
Joey's like, he's about to read, dude. Y'all better strap in.
Dude, he's like
Here's
AI.
some key facts.
Yeah, I'm, like,
Victims.
super smart.
5 confirmed victims were Marianne Nichols, easy, Ann Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Not to be mistaken with Mary Jane. That Mary Jane. It was a Mary Jane back in the 1800s. I don't know what this means. Oh, this is MO. This is where they get this is where they get that thing in the. That's why they don't say this word. Hey, what's his MO? Instead, they say that. They don't say what's his modus operandi.
I heard that he really botched the first 2, but on the third one, he really hit his stride.
Wow. And I heard that sometimes you can't break a stride.
But you can cut her up.
Yeah. Here's the MO. The killer would slit the victim's throat, then mutilate their bodies. Horrible. Often removing the organs. I wonder if they found the organs.
I don't know.
Or if they, well, I guess Joey will tell us. The brutality led to speculation that he had surgical expertise. There were various letters that were sent to the press and police allegedly from the killer, including the famous Dear Boss letter, which used the first name Jack the Ripper, which was that's when they first used the name Jack the Ripper from the letter.
Because his name was Jack.
Yeah.
No, that was.
Well, no, this was a letter. That's where they got this from.
Jack the Ripper came from one of the constables saying.
Fact.
It was like one of those.
Bring it up, Jamie.
Yeah, bring that up, Jamie. Here, the suspects. Numerous individuals have been suspected, including local criminals, doctors, butchers, even members of the British royal family.
Hello, governor.
Chip.
Hello. I don't like these peasants anymore.
I'm gonna
go slit their throats.
I'm a bloody
take
cut
the
out their
organs
guts.
out. And I'm gonna call myself Jack the Ripper.
What a fiend, bro.
Yeah. However, no conclusive evidence has ever identified the killer. So it's one of those.
Until now.
You've got DNA. Here's some theories. Over the years, theories have ranged from the killer being a lone madman to a Freemason conspiracy, or even an American serial killer like Ted Bundy.
I was blaming it on the Americans.
Exactly. I mean, we broke up the Tea Party.
Yeah, we had a tea party, and then
they were like, "Hey, we're not paying taxes to King George anymore.
No,
We're gonna drink the
Sam
tea
either."
Right? Can we stop that,
Please?
All right, Joey. I'm gonna throw it over to you, and then I can come back and talk about the crimes. Kurt's got some rips too.
Yeah.
So anytime you want to give a backdrop of context.
Okay. All right, let's do timeline. Okay, let's set the
stage. Whitechapel, London.
The Whitechapel murders. The nightmare began in the late summer of 1888. London's East End, specifically the district of Whitechapel, was plagued by poverty, overcrowding, and vice. In these shadowy streets, someone the press would later call Jack the Ripper embarked on a horrific killing spree. So let's chronologically trace the Whitechapel murders attributed to the Ripper, the so-called Canonical Five victims. Noting
so you
when,
actually got dates when these people were murdered.
Yep. When, where, and what happened in each case.
And who?
So August 31st, 1888. Mary Ann Polly Nichols. At around 3:40 a.m., a 43-year-old Polly Nichols is found dead on Bucks
Wait, how old
Row.
was she?
43.
Dang, she was a hooker at 43?
Hey, have we confirmed these are all hookers?
I might get into that.
Okay.
Jeez.
So we don't know if they're hookers.
I don't think they were all hookers, matter of fact.
I don't know where that.
But also,
where did that come from?
The movie From Hell.
See, I'm glad I didn't watch it. I'd have been thrown off.
Her throat had been slit deeply and her abdomen viciously slashed.
Wow.
Nichols had been seen alive just an hour earlier. A friend, Emily Holland, ran into Polly at 2:30 a.m., and Polly lamented she'd spent her money on rent money on drink, but vowed to earn some on the streets.
Witness.
There we go. She was.
So she the last person to see her.
Yep. Sadly, within an hour, she became the Ripper's first known victim, discovered by a passing cart driver in a dark gateway. So that was
on.
on.
They questioned that guy.
That was on August 31st.
Okay, August 31st.
So September 8th. So this is what,
9 days.
Dude.
Yeah, 9 days later.
Yep. Annie Chapman. Before dawn, the body of a 47-year-old. So she was.
Dang, 40s.
Yeah.
What the heck? I didn't even realize this.
Annie Chapman is discovered in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street in Spitalfields. It's roughly 6 a.m. when a resident finds her. Chapman's throat was cut and her body was mutilated. Notably, the killer had removed her uterus and part of her bladder.
Okay. So we got the same cut, throat, body. This time he's removing stuff.
Yeah.
Unlike the one before, it was just
He's escalating.
he's like, wait, I got to get in here.
Yeah.
Just minutes before her murder at about 5:30 a.m., a witness named Elizabeth Long
Okay.
saw Chapman talking with a man near the yard. Miss Long recalled the man had a shabby, genteel, foreign appearance.
What does that mean?
And I think it means
I'm gonna look that up, Jamie.
He looked. If I remember correctly, like he looked like he was Jewish, basically.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that shabby genteel means Jewish?
I don't know if that would look
I'm
it up.
gonna look that up,
it
Jamie.
This is shabby
Foreign
genitalia.
appearance and
Genitalia?
Heard him ask Chapman, "Will you?" ?
Oh gosh.
To which Annie replied, "Yes." This was likely moments before the Ripper struck.
Wow.
Okay, let me just break that what you just read. Elizabeth overheard this conversation.
Right.
Will you? Yes, I will.
Yeah.
/
Dead.
cut.
What took her away? It sounds like most of these women were like trying.
I
to
wonder
sell their
why
body.
Elizabeth was kind of hearing this from earshot, and who discovered this body?
It was discovered before dawn.
Gentile.
Yeah,
if
but who
you're-
turned this one in? Because the cart driver did the first one. You would think Elizabeth would have caught on to this.
Well, she saw it the night before.
What?
Minutes before her murder,
That's what I'm saying.
a
She shoulda-
witness named Elizabeth Long saw Chapman talking with a man. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she's dead.
So shabby
Okay.
genteel would have been like a shabby gentleman. He probably had
I got on
beard,
dictionary right
torn
here.
up, torn up clothing.
Yeah, let's
and-
figure that out. bro.
It's trying to maintain dignity and self-respect despite the shabbiness. So it'd be like me putting on a tie with
Yeah.
what I'm wearing right now.
Right. Yeah.
You're like,
Or like one of those tuxedo
he
t-shirts.
still looks shabby. He's trying to act like he's something he's not.
Shabby.
Yeah, like one of
genteel.
those tux.
Yeah. You guys, did you get through the murders?
No.
What?
Because I got context.
Where have you been?
I
You
got
want, hey,
context.
hit some
No, we're
context,
still
bro.
going. Should we go
No.
through all the murders?
Okay,
Go
let's-
through all the murders first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So that was
last
September
one,
30th.
September 8th.
Oh, 8th. Okay, now we're
Okay.
going to 30th.
So September 30th, 1888. So this was, 20 days later, roughly. Elizabeth Stride, on this ill-fated night, the Ripper struck twice in what newspapers would call the double event. The first victim, Elizabeth Long Liz Stride, she was 45, is found at approximately 1 a.m. in Dutfield's yard off Burner Street.
Okay.
Field yard.
A
Dutfield yard.
club steward, Lewis.
You got to read this thing in English
Yeah, we got to.
accent.
Yeah, because
Lew-
we're in English. At
Hang
this
on,
point.
Lewis Dimshorts, turning his horse and cart around into the yard, nearly runs over Stride's body in the dark.
I don't think you could do this.
What?
He hasn't
on.
gone Indian yet.
Stride's neck, Stride's neck has been cut, unlike the other. That sounded Irish.
Yeah, that sounded kind of Australian.
Unlike the other victims, her body wasn't mutilated.
What? Okay.
It's believed that the killer was interrupted, perhaps by Diemschutz' arrival, and fled. Just 15 minutes earlier, around 12:45 a.m., a man named Israel Schwartz had seen Stride being assaulted by the man at the yard's gate. Schwartz's account suggests he might have witnessed the Ripper mid-attack before being scared off. Stride's murder left the Ripper unsatisfied, leading to another victim the same night.
Hold on, let's break that down. The Israel Schwartz saw Stride,
Right.
which was the victim,
Getting
being assaulted by a man,
Yep. And then he
and then he ran off
he dipped out.
Yeah.
like beta.
He ran off because he's like, I'm about to get caught. Dips out, but he still needs that fix of getting somebody, dead.
He had the
Okay.
taste for blood. So same night, September 30th, 1888. This is at 1:44 a.m.
Dude's making a streak.
Yeah, so 45 minutes
his
later,
pants.
a Catherine Eddowes, a
That's
mere
good.
45 minutes after Stride's body was found, the Ripper kills again. At 1:44 a.m., Constable Edward Watkins, patrolling Mitre Square in the city of London, stumbles across the mutilated body of 46-year-old Catherine Eddowes. Eddowes had been killed within the jurisdiction of the city police, indicating how the Ripper crossed police boundaries. Her throat was cut and her abdomen was slashed open. The murder had removed her left kidney and part of her uterus.
My gosh.
This suggests the killer had some knowledge of anatomy, or at least gruesome purpose. Notably, just minutes before Eddowes' death, three men leaving a nearby club saw a woman believed to be Eddowes talking with a man. One of them, Joseph Lawende, oh, sure, that sounds good. Lawende gave a description of a man to police. A fair mustached man in pepper and salt jacket.
Okay.
And this became a key witness account after the double event. The killer left a clue, a piece of Eddowes' bloodied apron dropped in a Whitechapel doorway beside a chalked graffito that read, "The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing."
What?
We'll revisit this.
Did he
clue
mean the
later.
Jews? Because it's spelled J-U.
Juwes.
Was he talking about Jews, like
Yes.
Jewish people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we'll get to that.
He just spelled it.
We'll get to that.
It's coming. It's coming later, bro.
Okay,
Don't worry.
sorry.
Coming down the pipe.
November 9th, 1888.
You guys are ripping through this information.
Mary Jane Kelly, dude.
So this was about a week later. Seems like he's doing it like The longest stint he had was 20 days before he killed again.
Yeah, and it sounds like the double murder was like he didn't get satisfied.
Yeah.
I got to go get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I need a uterus. I didn't get the first one.
Yeah.
He was making hats.
Yeah.
Mary Jane Kelly. After a week lull, the Ripper's final and most savage murder occurs indoors. Mary Jane Kelly, about 25, was the youngest victim and the only one killed in a private space.
You're kidding me.
Her tiny single-room lodging at 13 Miller's Court off Dorset Street in the late morning of November 9th, Kelly's landlord sends his assistant, Thomas Bauer, to collect the overdue rent. Bauer knocks and gets no answers and peeks through a broken window pane, only to recoil in horror. Mary Jane Kelly's corpse lies on the bed, brutally butchered.
I don't think he's getting that rent.
The scene is so ghastly that even seasoned police officers were shaken. Kelly's throat was severed down to the spine. Her
Good
abdomen
Lord.
emptied.
Wait. Severed down to the spine. Wow. It
Yeah.
went.
You mean all the way through?
Yes.
All the way through. Tried to decapitate her.
Her abdomen emptied of organs. Her face mutilated beyond recognition.
Okay, this is the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
The killer had literally ripped her apart, even removing her heart. Doctors estimated she was killed in the pre-dawn hours, sometime between 3:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. Neighbors later reported hearing a faint cry of "Oh, murder!" around that time. That's kind of a weird thing to yell. Around that time, but such cries were common in Whitechapel and went unheeded.
Wait, who heard that cry?
Neighbors. Kelly's murder marked the gruesome climax of the Ripper's rampage. After this, the canonical murders mysteriously stopped.
What
Okay.
in the world?
So why would you hear, "Oh, murder"? So here's the context of the time period.
You got some context?
I do. So this is the aftermath of the Industrial Revolution. The late 19th century saw rapid urbanization with the overcrowded and impoverished areas like Whitechapel suffering from extreme poverty, crime, and poor sanitation. There was social inequality. There was a stark divide between the wealthy and the working class. Whitechapel, where the murders occurred, was a slum filled with homelessness, sex work, and alcoholism.
All my favorite things.
Oh, wow.
Policing
Stay out of there,
and
Jason.
forensics. The concept of forensic science was in its infancy. There were no fingerprints, DNA analysis, or modern crime scene protocols, making it difficult to catch the killer. And then sensationalist media, the newly developed mass press, fueled public panic with exaggerated reports and conspiracy theories, making the Ripper a notorious figure worldwide. That's the context I had. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
So
you can get a temperature of the place.
Yeah, so basically, just about the dirtiest place you can be in.
Basically, my apartment complex.
and granted, London, you got the London fog going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary. Spooky.
I feel like Jack the Ripper always had like one of those long coats, trench coat,
and a top hat.
Yeah.
That's
the way I was seen depicted. Walking around with a medical bag.
Yeah, and a cane.
Yeah.
Knives hidden everywhere.
Do we have any
Giving what?
Do we have any suspects?
Yeah.
The unusual suspects.
Oh, look at this. We got eyewitnesses face the fog. Or do you have something to add on Kurt's rip?
I've got suspects.
You do?
And it's long, man.
Or do you want to tackle that or
Sure. Yeah, here we go. Let me get to the top of it though. Okay. So this is theories and suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Montague John Druitt, a 31-year-old.
Where's that at? I want to follow you here.
You don't have it on there.
Oh, thank you.
Montague John Druitt, a 31-year-old barrister and schoolteacher. Druitt was identified as a prime suspect in a private 1894 memo by Sir Melville Monaghan of Scotland Yard. Monaghan noted that Druitt was said to be insane and that he died by suicide early in December 1888, just after the murders stopped. Indeed, the Ripper killings mysteriously ceased after Mary Jane Kelly's murder on the November 9th, 1888, leading to lending weight to suspects who might have died or been incapacitated then. The case against Druitt is entirely circumstantial, primarily the time of his death and vague allusions to mental illness. No eyewitness placed Druitt at any crime scene, and there has been no record that he had a violent history. Nonetheless, for early police officials, Druitt's demise neatly coincided with the end of the murders was suggestive. Druitt's background,
That's weak, dude.
educated and from a good family, did not fit the profile of a local rough, but some theorists have speculated that he has medical interests or anatomical knowledge, which could align with the nature of the mutilations. Today, many historians doubt Druitt was the Ripper, but he remains one of the classic suspects frequently mentioned in retellings of the case. Then Michael Ostrong. Michael Ostrong was another name listed in Menachten's 1894 memorandum, a Russian-born thief and imposter who sometimes passed himself off as a doctor. Ostrong had a criminal record and was detained in asylums on and off. The fact he was a physician by training.
Physician.
A physician. He was a physicist and a physician.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
But I play one on TV.
Yeah. By training made him an attractive suspect to Victorian minds due to the assumption of surgical skill in the murders. However, research later determined that Ostrong was very likely incarcerated in France during the Ripper murders, providing a solid alibi. Moreover, there is no evidence that he was in London at the time. Ostrong, thus largely considered a red herring, included by Menachten on a fairly thin grounds and sustained in his suspect lists, mostly by historical inertia. Modern ripperologists generally discount Ostrong as a viable candidate, illustrating how early investigations sometimes cast too wide a net in search of a culprit. Aaron Kamiński, a Polish-Jewish immigrant who lived in Whitechapel. Kamiński was a prime suspect for several of the investigating officers in 1888 to 1891. He was in his early 20s at the time of the murders and was known to have a profound hatred of women and deep mental disturbances. In 1891, Kamiński was committed to an insane asylum where he spent the rest of his life. Notes from his officials, like Assistant Commissioner Sir Robert Anderson, suggest that a witness, possibly Joseph Lawende, who saw a man talking to Eddowes minutes before her murder, identified a suspect without a doubt as the killer, but refused to testify formally because the suspect was a fellow Jew, and the witness did not want to be responsible for a Jewish man's execution. Anderson never named the suspect explicitly, but later writers deduced that it was likely Aaron Kamiński, given Anderson's hints in other records. The case against Kamiński remained largely speculative until controversial DNA analysis was published in 2019. A shawl alleged to have been found at Eddowes' murder site was tested for DNA, and researchers reported finding mitochondrial DNA, and we talked about that earlier. Mitochondrial DNA fragments consistent with both Catherine Eddowes and a living relative of Aaron Kamiński. This was hailed in some headlines as proof of Jack the Ripper's identity, naming Kamiński as the killer. However, experts quickly pointed out major issues. The shawl's provenance is dubious. There's no clear record it was actually Eddowes' property and present at the scene. And the DNA results were based on mitochondrial DNA rather than unique identifiers. Mitochondrial DNA is shared across maternal lines and cannot pinpoint an individual with certainty. It can only indicate a familial connection. Furthermore, any DNA on the shawl had over 130 years to degrade or be contaminated by handlers. In the words of one critic, bad science has been co-opted here to back up bad history.
Bad science.
Bad science. Since we can't be sure the shawl was even at the crime scene. Despite these caveats, the Kamiński theory is considered one of the more plausible, and he remains a leading suspect in many modern discussions, supported by both the contemporaneous police suspicion and the suggestive, if not conclusive, DNA findings. Should I keep going with the... Oh, that sounds
Break
like
time.
Going to break.
How many more do you have?
1, 2,
Two. And then,
3,
Joey, what do you want to hit when we come back
4.
from the break?
So he's going through witnesses now.
5, 6. I have 6 more.
Let's figure it out on break.
Okay. We'll be right back. Are you ready to meet? I'm ready to roll.
Byron's like a honey badger.
We're talking about
He's a straight up dog, bro.
we're talking about
go.
Jack the Ripper. We just went over a bunch of suspects. We went over the killings, all the people that were victimized, brutalized, and left for dead.
Idolized.
So the last 6
in Whitechapel.
The last 6, I'm not going to read the entire profile on them, but there was George Chapman, Dr. Francis Tumblety, Walter Sickert, James Maybrick, and then there was an idea that it might be in a female, Jill the Ripper.
What?
But there was nothing
Jill the
confirming
Ripper.
that.
That's
Royal conspiracy,
hot.
meaning it could have been royal. And I think
Queen of England.
That's the last that my research came up with. So I think
Gotcha.
Joey has some more stuff on this.
Yeah. So I
think
just kind of wanted
Jason's got
to.
something.
You got some stuff?
You got a hat on. I said.
Hey, roll tide, baby.
Roll Tide.
Did you have something?
Yeah. I lost it now.
I love my mama.
You guys put me on the spot. I was trying to take a nap, to be honest.
Per the norm.
Well, do
No.
you want to go over the eyewitness testimonies and see if we can profile this guy?
Let's go over.
You want
Let's
to
do
read
it.
it?
I can't read that far.
I'll give it to you.
No, it's okay.
What about
Alright,
on the
fine.
screen?
We're just trying to add you to the show.
No, I'm listening intently, and it's
Because you're about to figure this out,
hold on,
right?
Hold on. Hold
Okay.
on. Hold
Okay,
on.
hold on now.
I don't think it was a woman.
I don't think so.
I don't either. It's too brutal.
It's too brutal. There's too many witnesses that saw a man.
A dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think.
Dumb.
I think the idea of having that Aaron Kaminsky or whatever this dude's name, that's not.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the DNA. It was the DNA that they found on that shawl was just.
So the only thing with that's wrong with that is that when we convict somebody of a crime, there's this chain of evidence that has to be signed off for where
Chain
they
of
found
custody.
it. Yeah, the chain of what did I say?
You said chain. Well, same thing.
Yeah.
Chain of custody, which means I give it to you, and you sign for it.
I signed for it saying it came
and
from
it's
me.
all, and
it's-
everybody can see the chain.
Yeah. So if they break that chain of custody, that evidence is inadmissible in court.
Right.
So the fact that we don't know if that shawl was found at Eda's place, but the mitochondrial DNA, now that we have that technology to be able to find that, the fact that why would Kaminsky's DNA, or familial connection be on that if it wasn't him? Plus, how did his blood get on it?
Yeah.
Right. So, like,
But is it his blood or is it any type of DNA that's? I mean, it could be sweat, it could be saliva.
Yeah. What was it?
I mean, if
don't
that
know.
shaw's been handed
So we don't
down,
know.
but I think
numerous people, and my hands are sweaty right now.
I think they tested the
I know.
blood though, and
Oh, they did.
yeah, they tested the blood. And from what we read, it said.
Oh, so there was blood on it.
So
So
I
that
mean,
answers your
I
question.
don't know if
blood.
maybe he
Was there blood on it? I thought it was just had DNA. I don't know if it was blood.
No, he said there was blood.
They said it was blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Dang, dude.
So
Anyway,
he,
that's
he
what I
was the closest one out of all the others that I read. Everything
Heck
was
yeah.
all hearsay and circumstance. So
Anyway, Faces in the Fog. The Whitechapel district obviously never truly slept. Even in the early hours, there were people on the streets, workers, night dwellers, patrolling police, and fellow residents. In such a densely populated area, it was inevitable that someone would see or hear something around the time of each murder.
For real. Plus, they're always coming out of clubs.
Yep. Indeed, numerous eyewitnesses came forward claiming to have seen the victims in the company of a man shortly before their deaths. Some of these accounts proved credible and have become critical pieces of the puzzle. Others were contradictory of dubious reality
I
or
like that word,
reliability.
dubious.
Reliability. I can't read.
I like it.
Let's run through a few verified testimonies that shed light. Okay.
Okay.
Witness and Chapman, a key witness. Chapman's inquest was Miss Elizabeth Long. She testified that around 5:30 a.m., September 8th, 1888, she saw Annie Chapman talking with a man near 29 Hanbury Street, the backyard where Chapman would be found minutes later. Miss Long described the man as being shabby genteel appearance, a bit taller than Annie, around 40 years old, with dark hair and a foreign genteel look. Wearing a brown low-crowned hat, some reports say a deer stalker hat. Cap.
Deer stalker.
She heard the man
look
ask
that up.
Chapman, "Will you?" And Annie replied, "Yes." Those brief words, possibly a proposition for sexual interaction or a transaction, were likely the last thing Annie Chapman ever saw. Moments later, Chapman was murdered.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Miss Long's testimony is vital because it suggests the Ripper might have appeared respectable or at least not destitute and perhaps of foreign or Jewish origin in the eyes of a witness. Okay. The man in the gateway, that was Israel. One of the most compelling Ripper sightings came on the night of the double event. That was when Israel was walking down Burner Street when he witnessed a frightening scene, a man attacking a woman near the gate of Dutfield's yard. The woman was Elizabeth Stride. Swartz saw the man throw Stride to the ground. Thinking it was a domestic dispute, he crossed the street to avoid trouble. The attacker yelled something possibly Lipski?
Lipski!
Boy, Lipski.
That's an anti-Jewish slur.
I gotta look that up.
Oh boy, we just said it twice on the air.
And Schwartz noticed a second man lighting a pipe nearby who may have been an accomplice or just a bystander. Schwartz hurried away, not realizing he had likely seen the Ripper in mid-attack. About 15 minutes later, Stride was found dead. Schwartz's description, the assailant was about 5'5", with a fair complexion, dark hair, small brown mustache, and wore a black peaked cap and dark overcoat. This came out in police reports. While some details varied, Schwartz's account is considered credible and suggests the Ripper might have been of modest height and build. It's chilling.
Was this what time was this?
This was September 30th at 12:45 a.m.
12 a.m.
Yeah.
This dude's murdering in broad daylight?
Yeah, this last murder was in daylight, in the morning.
Yeah.
And he witnessed that. The throwing down, I'm crossing the street.
Is
Oh, my not PM. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's dark.
Yeah, it's dark.
That's pretty good description of things I saw in the dark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this Israel Lipski was a convicted murderer. He murdered, I think, 3 women. Maybe he was married to.
This is why it's a Jewish slur.
Yeah.
You're a Lipski.
So he forced them to consume nitric acid. But his
Wow.
MO was different than the Jack Ripper murders. So they counted him out as, like, they couldn't tie him to the Ripper murders.
But why is a Lipski a Jewish slur, though?
Oh, I don't know.
Who knows, man? Lipski. Meeting in the night, Lewinde's sighting of Endow's companion. After Stride's murder, the Ripper struck Catherine Endow's. Shortly after Eddowes was killed in Mitre Square, 3 men, Joseph Lewinde, Joseph Levy, and Harry Harris, were
leaving the club.
Leaving the club, Duke Street. This sounded
This
like
place
it
was
like-
happening, right?
This sounded like freaking Sin
The
City in
dirge
1888.
of
bro.
London.
Out there just getting jiggy with it.
Getting jakey.
wanna
Why
pa-
all
you
these
wanna pass off the
40-year-olds? Why
Uh,
40-year-olds
It's
walking around?
Okay,
I've
right there.
seen Judge
okay.
Dredd.
Yes.
It's like
Do you like the first or the second one?
the first one.
Okay, we're still on.
Hello, Governor.
Is that what I'm talking about? Judge Dredd when they were in that
Well, there's
little-
2 of them.
that community where it's just lawlessness.
You talking about Snake Plissken?
Never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Escape from New York?
No.
What?
They saw a man and a woman talking at the entrance of the church passage leading to Mitre Square and gave a description of a man about 30 years old, 5'7", with a fair moustache, wearing a salt and pepper colored loose jacket, a grey cloth cap, and a red neckerchief. Crucially, Lewinde was later asked to view a suspect, and though the identification was never formally used in court, officials hinted that Lewinde had unhesitatingly identified a suspect, but refused to testify formally. The suspect was a Polish Jew, as we'll discuss under Aaron Kaminsky in the suspect section. Lewinde's testimony remained semi-anonymous at the time, referred to obliquely by the police.
That's weird.
Nonetheless, his sighting is likely the closest anyone came to seeing the Ripper with a victim and later pointing him out.
Okay, that's amazing to me that you've got a witness coming out of a club. It's dark. How loosey was he? And look at the description.
Yeah.
I mean, you're this close to see he has salt and peppered colored loose jacket.
Yeah.
What?
30 years old and 5'7".
What?
5'5" or 5'7"?
And he had a gray cloth cap and a red neckerchief.
With a fair mustache.
How would? I feel like he's making this up.
Isn't everything made up?
He had 2 left feet and 2 left hands.
I'm just saying. No wonder it was kind of. He didn't testify formally because he was like, well, I made that up. I shouldn't go into court.
Maybe it wasn't one guy, bro.
Maybe it was a gang.
Maybe it was a secret society.
Maybe it was.
Yep.
Maybe it was a Mothman.
Done deal. Got to
Maybe
the end of that.
no. Maybe it was a
What?
Spit it out, governor.
vampire.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. I've heard theories of that.
I've
too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I made that up.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I have heard theories.
Is that a vampire?
Yeah.
Who's theory?
I mean, that's where the vampires came from. Was Europe,
mm-hmm.
I thought it was from like
Transylvania.
Pennsylvania.
So it's the original.
It's a Vania.
So what do we got?
The last client.
Are you going to take that one?
Sure.
Or you mean to get it?
Go ahead and read it.
Go ahead.
Oh, here's the last client. Mary Kelly's final hours. So I'm going from Blockton.
You got to stick.
I'm
with
going
it.
from the east. Since Mary Kelly was killed indoors, fewer people saw her that night. But a couple of intriguing accounts exist. Mary Ann Cox from the Cox, a neighbor in Miller's Court, saw Kelly around midnight on November 9th, walking home with a blotchy face, stout man in a shabby overcoat, and a billycock hat.
A billycock hat.
Billycock?
Oh, governor.
It's Mary Ann Cox, somebody had a billycock. Kelly was very drunk, singing merrily, "A Violet from a Mother's Grave." That was what she's singing that night.
It was in a room after midnight.
It was. And another witness, George Hitchinson, came forward a day later with eye-popping story. He claimed around 2 to 2:30 a.m. he met Kelly on a commercial street.
You think his eyes literally popped out of his head?
Literally. She complained of being broke. Moments later, a well-dressed man, whom Hitchinson described in extraordinary detail, down to the red kerchief and a gold chain, approached Kelly. Hutchinson followed him out of curiosity, noting that the man gave Kelly a handkerchief. And they went into her room around 2:45.
You know what that means? You give a woman a
2:45.
handkerchief.
It's a bloody done deal is what it is.
That's what they're talking about. They're talking about they could be hookers.
You have a mixture of like Elmer Fudd.
It's bad. It's bad.
I was thinking the same.
It's just
You're sticking with it. Keep going.
Hitchinson proclaimed the man is Jewish in parents.
Now you sound like
Now I
Ozzy.
sound like a drunk.
Now you sound like a guy who's been sitting in the same pub for
Education.
30 years.
And
He
carries-
carried a small bag. This sketch earned the mysterious figure the nickname Oshkoshka Man.
My God, that's terrible.
However, modern researchers suspect Hitchinson's tale may be unreliable or fabricated.
Well, I wonder what that is.
Perhaps he sought attention of his own motives.
You sound like the dude.
Huh?
What's the dude?
You
that
got to be
played-
very quiet. He's hunting rabbits.
The dude that played Alfred in.
Oh, you talking about dude?
Michael Caine. You
Michael.
sound- you sound like Michael
Yeah,
Caine.
The
a little bit.
Underground Railroad.
There you go.
The Underground Railroad.
What these accounts do agree on, though, is Jack the Ripper was unremarkable, enough to blend in with the milieu of Whitechapel. He did not appear as a raving monster. Witnesses
What?
saw who looked like just another dock worker, sailor, or tradesman with a woman.
Okay.
Well,
Well, you have it there.
I don't bel-
sure.
He doesn't look like a monster.
He was just a normal dude.
Just a normal dude wearing a deer catcher hat.
And he was 5'5". So
I looked the hat up there.
that would be like Byron going out there just smash.
Yeah, just
Sure, there were-
smashing over the.
Sure, there were
cars.
tons of hats in there.
Byron, how
just
tall are you?
bang, bang,
Byron,
bang.
Byron, how tall are you?
5'4.5".
Oh, never mind. He was a little taller.
No, you're not, Byron. You're 5'5", 5'6".
I'm 5'4.5", dude.
Do you ever feel like you just need to
68
move
inches.
to Switzerland, not Switzerland, but New Zealand,
Denmark,
New Zealand,
and just
dig
start
a
over.
hole, dig a hole in the ground, have a round door,
Yes.
drink
Smoke a pipe.
smoke out of a big
Smoke a
bloody
pipe.
pipe,
Smoke a
governor.
pipe.
Have a bunch of sausages hanging from racks.
Yes.
And then whenever your little nephew comes over, you're like, "We're going on an adventure."
we're going on an adventure.
I don't-
By the way, there's some
Sure, I don't
dwarves
think
in
they
the
talk like
kitchen.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think they talk like that.
I don't think so.
No.
They talk like this.
I
Well,
don't
they
know
were
how
hobbits.
talk,
What
They
in
were
the hell is
hobbits.
going on right now?
You're like, "Bloody Bilbo,
Bloody.
So,
we're going on an adventure."
Where's my leprechaun?
should we continue on with the
I
notes?
don't
This
know.
sword right here is called the Stinger,
The stinger.
governor.
Here, drink this.
Oh, do we have any listeners in England?
Yes, a
We
ton.
did until
That's
the
our
prince-
biggest. That's
Boy.
our biggest Europe country.
They should
England.
tell us how our accents are.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah,
Send us a hat, bro.
Yeah.
Send us a hat from old
Send us a hat from Ireland.
Actually, I knew we had listeners over there because the moment we did Princess Diana episode and we got ripped, then I was like, okay.
Did we get Jack the Rip, though?
We got absolutely toasted, bro. All right, let's skip all that jumbo mumbo.
How about, why do they call it Scotland Yard and it's in England? Think about that?
Holy crap.
Why is it that? How come it's not London Yard?
I'm having
I know why.
You do?
I do know why. I looked this up before.
See? That's why you're on the show.
I think Scotland Yard
Let's go William Wallace.
it had to do with something in history. And I'll
maybe that's where
it had to do
anyway,
with
Jamie,
something in history at some point in time.
Look that up.
I'm looking it right now.
Hey,
Here
what?
it comes.
Where were you at on
The
what
Scotland Yard is the headquarters of the Metropolitan
Well, duh,
Police
we all know that.
Yeah, we know
Service
that.
in London. Blah 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 blah.
I think it was named
1829.
after like a park that it was
Scotland?
built around or something like
But
that.
see, back in the day, English and Scotland hated each other.
Right, but it'd be like calling a street out in Lawrence, Kansas, Mass Street,
What?
Massachusetts Street.
Yeah,
Right,
they have those though.
right.
Great.
But what I'm
Scotland
saying,
Yard.
I wonder if they have a police station in Scotland called London Yard.
Probably.
Wow.
So number 3, letters, reports, and headlines.
Are you serious?
That's where I'm at.
CCTV?
Yes, governor. I got this from bloody Wikipedia.
Oh, look, Jason pulled his shades off.
Okay, hold on.
Look at Jason's
Scotland-
going to sleep.
No, wait. No.
Jason's gone. Oh, bloody hell, he's leaving.
Bloody, he's like, I don't like your accent.
We just lost a producer.
Okay. CCTV, go.
Okay.
Are we going to make it?
In an era long before CCTV and DNA, Jack the Ripper. Case had to be solved with paper trails and human
Which obviously sucked.
What survived from? Oh, that's what country. For
Yeah,
a
you
second.
just want to watch her.
What survived in 1888 are
Was
a
it
trove
trove?
of historical documents, meticulous police
Oh.
reports,
Wow.
coroners, inquest records.
Put a pause on this really quick.
No, governor.
Scotland Yard
Oh, here we
is
go.
named after the location where the original headquarters of the Metropolitan Police Service was established in 1829.
That's what I just said.
The name comes from Great Scotland Yard, a street in Westminster, London,
A
where the police
street.
offices were first located.
Get away from my neck.
Westminster.
So wait, so this was a you said a park?
It was a
street.
street.
A street
It's
was
just like I said.
Yeah, it
With
is.
Lawrence, Kansas being
Lawrence,
named Massachusetts Street.
It's like a street called Alabama, downtown Kansas.
Well, it's like the show Downton Abbey, but it's not. It's not
That
downtown
show.
Abbey.
I thought it was.
I thought it was filmed downtown, man.
I thought it was. I didn't know what an abbey
It's
was.
Downton.
I thought it was about a girl.
I've never seen it.
I thought it was a girl like hitting the big city, you know, downtown Abbey.
But I
Sex
found
in the
out.
City.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of big cities,
Yeah.
autopsy reports and police surgeons, and of course, the infamous letters that may or may not have been written by the killer.
Here comes the boss letter.
The Victorian press also played a huge role, flooding the newspapers with lurid coverage. In this section, we'll examine the key documents that shaped the investigation and the public's understanding of the case.
Here's the boss letter.
Oh, the dear boss letter. On September 27th, 1888, the Central News Agency in London received a letter written in shrinking red ink and addressed it to Dear Boss. By the way, if anyone knows anyone that was murdered during this, I'm sorry. We're
sorry the victims.
yeah. Let's have a moment of silence.
Okay. And he signed the bottom Jack the Ripper.
Yep, Dear Boss. It's authored braggingly cheeking about the murders in a mocking sing-song tone. He wrote,
Oh my gosh.
I keep hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. I have laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on the right track. The letter mentions the killer's delight in ripping prostitutes, even jokes about clipping a victim's
So that's
ears
where
off
they
for
get the
police.
prostitute from.
Yeah.
He mentions it.
Maybe, if he wrote it. I don't know.
Well, that's true.
A threat chillingly fulfilled when part of Catherine Landau's earlobe was found severed.
Ooh.
though
Wait a
not
minute.
Sent 5 days later.
To the police? See, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
They sent the earlobe in.
Yeah, he did.
And a
Killer
piece of
did.
a kidney.
Oh, really?
Piece of a kidney. Half
Have you guys
eaten.
even researched it?
No, I haven't.
It is signed in a Florida
I just-
hand.
I
Yours
just
truly, Jack the Ripper, followed by a postscript. They say I'm a doctor now. Ha ha. This was the first time the world heard the name Jack the Ripper. The agency initially thought it was a hoax, but after the Adow's murder, where the ear was nicked as hinted, they forwarded it to the police. The press got wind of it, and October 1st, the text of the Dear Boss letter was sensationally published in newspapers, cementing the name Jack the Ripper.
Oh, so I was wrong. It was actually signed Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jack himself.
In history, many
wonder
believe
if
a
his name
journalist
was
might
Jack.
have penned it to stoke a story, as it reads like
Oh,
a
really?
pot boiler. Nevertheless, the Dear Boss letter is a cornerstone of the Ripper lore, either authentic voice of the killer taunting authorities or a clever imposter.
Wait a minute. So they didn't authenticate this letter when they got it to see if...
No, they didn't have CCTV
There-
back then.
No, I'm saying this letter.
I didn't have CCTV. Got him.
You just said,
Sorry, Governor.
You just said that it's possible that somebody added Jack the Ripper at the end. It couldn't cops. Was this sent to the cops, right?
Dude, this was like...
Oh, wait. No, this was sent to... Oh, the Central News Agency. I'm sorry.
happened-
I bounced out right
This
there.
happened 600
This
years
sent,
ago.
This was sent to a news agency, and you're saying the reporters could have did that just to
Yeah.
make it
It
sensational.
happened 200 years ago.
So we don't even know. It hasn't been authenticated.
Well, 120.
This whole story's bunk. Nobody was killed.
I don't think Jack the Ripper was even a real person.
I think they cut themselves up in
140.
suicide.
It was a different timeline.
What do you mean? Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're talking about multiple realities now.
Or is that what you're talking about?
Saucy Jackie postcard. As if one letter weren't enough, the Central News Agency then received a postcard on October 1st, the very day the Dear Boss hit the papers.
Okay.
Scrawled in similar handwriting and it gloated. Had not time to get ears for the police. It referred to a double event this time. Information just barely public by then. The murders of the Stride and Dows occurred in the early hours of September 30th, and news was still breaking.
Yeah.
Why do you sound like
What is he
JFK
saying?
now?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. From Boston.
the postcard signed and Jack the Ripper is dubbed the Saucy Jackie postcard.
We have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Debate rages whether the same person wrote it in Dear Boss letter. If
we
they were
choose to go
hoaxes.
to the moon.
Yeah. What does he say? What's the quote?
Who?
We choose to do the hard things because they are the hard things.
It's a hot thing. If they are hoaxes, the writer likely saw the first letter published and quickly sent the postcard to one-up the drama. If they were genuine, it implies the Ripper followed media coverage of his own crimes. Either scenario is haunting.
I'll read the From Hell.
This thing's a joke.
Go ahead, Governor.
The From Hell letter, or the Lusk letter. Perhaps the most
Lusk
ominous
letter.
correspondence arriving on October 6, 1888, in a small box addressed to George Lusk, head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee.
Oh,
You
sorry.
bloody scrolled
Sorry.
past where I was reading.
Sorry, I was looking ahead. Go ahead.
Hold on, I gotta find my place.
Bloody knife.
Inside was half a human kidney preserved in wine.
It was a kidney.
Accompanying it was a letter written in crude, misspelled script and notably not signed Jack the Ripper. From hell. Mr. Lusk, sir, I sent you half the kidney I took from one woman. T'other piece I fried and ate. It was very nice.
Wow.
The writer goes on to say he might send a bloody knife next. This From Hell letter, so called by its opening
That's
line,
where they got the movie name.
is grotesque. Yep. Catherine Eddowes had indeed had a kidney removed by the killer. Doctors examined the enclosed kidney half one. Dr. Thomas Openshaw said it was human. Oh, bloody
Oh,
hell.
sorry.
Who's
I keep
running the
forgetting.
bloody page, Governor?
I'm reading from this page. He keeps flipping. Doctors examined enclosed kidney half. One, Dr. Thomas Openshaw said it was a human from the left side, possibly matching Eddowes's. But the evidence was inconclusive. Unlike the Polish taunts of Dear Boss, polished taunts, sorry, not Polish, the From Hell letters tone feels raw and genuinely disturbed. If any letter is possibly from the real killer, some experts point to this one. But it's equally plausible and enterprising sick prankster, perhaps a medical student with access to a kidney, sent it to torment Lusk, who was actively trying to catch the murderer. Either way, the press had a field day with the Lusk letter, further fueling public panic. Imagine reading a newspaper in 1888 and learning the killer might be cannibalizing organs. Londoners were horrified.
Stop the press.
Dang.
Was this kidney verified with the body?
No, they couldn't.
So it wasn't hers.
You ever heard John Mulaney? The
Wait,
stand-up
that's the comedian, right?
Comedian, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard John.
He's got a really funny. He's like, could you imagine trying to solve a murder back before they had like forensics and DNA and stuff like that. He goes, hey, look, there's a pool of blood. Gross. He's like, anyway, back to my hunch.
Back to my hunch.
There's a pool of blood.
Gross. Back to my hunch.
Or Mitch Hedberg, he goes, imagine getting killed by an arrow. They'd never solve the murder. He goes, hey, look at that dead guy. Let's go that way.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just gonna go into the major theories, unless you guys want to keep going.
Yeah,
all
going to the
other
major
stories,
theories.
bro.
We'll wrap it up on that.
We're
Yeah.
wrapping up this gruesome topic.
It's gruesome. Nobody knows who killed somebody.
I think this was a exercise of our skills as doing Cockney accents as well as Irish.
I think so.
And a little bit of John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, and
It's accidentally slipped in
Oh,
down
yeah.
my Fudd and John F. Kennedy.
I lost what I was saying before. The identity of Jack the Ripper is an ultimate true crime mystery. Over the days, dozens of names have been floated, some very plausible, others downright bizarre. Royal conspiracies and famous authors
You're
have
just
been
half-assing the accent now.
right, it's just kind of failing.
It's failing.
implicated in the public imagination. Even at the time, police had their suspects, but lacking modern proof, they never arrested someone definitively as Jack. Here we'll do a
There's one
depth
that
look.
got away.
So Montague John Druitt, you mentioned him, didn't you?
Montague.
Mm-hmm.
The suicide suspect. You already talked about all these.
Yeah, that's weak, dude. That dude.
Yeah.
No way. Why would he even be? That's stupid.
Drew
Why would
has
you even be a
serious
suspect to him?
issues.
Just because he killed himself? Oh, he must be the murderer because
Well,
the
it's
murderer stopped.
The murder
That's
stopped
like your
right
blood.
after he
That's
killed
like your
himself.
blood.
Yeah. Gross.
Back to my.
That's
That's like that right there.
He said there's no known evidence that actually places Druitt in Whitechapel during the murders. He lived miles away in London's West End, and Blackheath had no obvious link to the East End. He kept working as a teacher up until late November 1888, showing no blatant signs of breakdown during the murder spree. His dismissal from the school came at the end of November, possibly for reasons related to his mental health or sexuality. It's unclear. It might have been the trigger for his suicide rather than guilt from being a killer. Aaron Kominski.
I like that guy for the murder.
That's too easy.
I like the royal conspiracy.
He emerged in recent decades as perhaps the most favored suspect among the many Rippers.
Favorite.
He was a Polish Jewish immigrant, a hairdresser who lived in Whitechapel on and off. Strengths of the theory: Kominski was indeed an early suspect of the police at the time. Mac Nogden's 1894 memo lists Kominski as one of the three prime suspects, describing him as a Polish Jew and Whitechapel resident who had a great hatred of women, especially prostitutes. He's like, I hate these dang hookers.
I hate these hookers
hate
out
these
here.
hoes.
Look, number one, I don't like women.
He's like, these
But when
bloody
they're out
hoes.
here putting their titties out here for people to pay for, I ain't having none of it.
He's like, these hoes ain't loyal.
Yeah, they ain't loyal to me. That's why I ain't getting married at
And
all.
he had strong homicidal tendencies. He went insane around March 1889. The description matches Aaron Kominski. Got some. So McNoggan got some timing wrong. Kominski
McNoggan?
actually was institutionalized in 1891, not 1889. So I can read more about him.
Yeah, if he was the murderer, maybe he wouldn't have stopped.
I'm going with the royal family.
So weaknesses: the case against Kominski.
It just makes sense.
While intriguing, it's circumstantial and has holes. He was never caught in the act or found with evidence of the crimes. The police apparently surveyed him and then put him in the asylum, suggesting they suspected him, but couldn't build a legal case, partly due to the witness refusing to testify.
I already read
An
that, bud.
asylum?
I already read that.
Or
Why,
you did?
why did he go in an
Already did.
asylum?
He was crazy.
So let's explore the royal
Tell you
line.
one thing. I like
So
the
let's
royal.
say-
I like the royal because I think they had a disdain for the lower class,
Mm-hmm.
and they could go out and dress up like normal people
Mm-hmm.
and like completely disguise. Nobody knows what they look like. They don't walk around normally in the public like
Look at
this.
Princess
I don't know who
Jasmine.
it would be. Who was in the royal family at this time? That's a great question.
Well, and think about it. If you were in the royal family and you had sex with a hooker, and then maybe it wasn't the first time,
Where's the royal?
and then they were gonna squeal on you or something like that.
I tell you what.
You know what? And you're just gonna go.
Where's the royal family?
him.
I just saw it here.
Well, you guys ever watched American Psycho?
Wait, is that with Christian Bale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that?
It's kind of like that.
What's he about?
He had disdain for people that
Oh,
were
here it is.
beneath him.
Yeah.
He did, and that's why he did it. Oh, here it is, the royal conspiracy.
Do you have that?
Prince Albert. No, it's right here in your notes.
Okay.
Prince Albert, like the Prince out from the can.
In a can? Yeah.
Are you
He
serious?
came from that can.
Wait, Prince Albert?
Prince Albert,
Isn't that piercing?
Dr. Gull Freemasons.
That's a piercing.
It's
Prince
al-
Albert?
It's also
No,
tobacco,
it's tobacco
and
in
a
a can.
historical person.
Do they still make that, by the way?
Yeah, I think
Prince
so.
Albert in a can? Because it's like, is it snuff or tobacco?
Tobacco.
Because
Pipe
my
tobacco.
aunt Annie used to do snuff.
Yeah.
She get
My
a pinch of
uncle-
that
What's that like?
Yeah, my uncle used to have a Prince Albert.
in a
Wow.
can,
No, just a Prince
No.
Albert.
Just
like
on
just like a little figurine.
just on his wing.
no,
What?
No, a Prince
On his
Albert.
weenie?
Yes, dude.
What?
Google it.
I don't want to.
Pull it up, Jamie.
I'm not pulling.
James.
Wait, you're talking about a
Oh,
little
wait.
piercing on your
piercing. I
penis
remember that.
called Prince
Yeah.
Albert,
That's what they're called.
like a cock ring.
No.
Okay,
Wait, what are you talking
I'm
about?
cock.
You know what a Prince
I
Albert
don't.
is?
I don't even want to talk about this.
Jason thinks he's onto something over here.
Did I
He's
send
like-
you that picture?
Wait a minute.
Oh,
That
it's-
wasn't my penis.
Did I show you that picture?
Well,
Notice, I'm going to go to this voice
Anyway,
right here.
read that.
No discussion of Ripper theories is complete without mentioning the sensational conspiracy, excuse me, conspiracy theory popularized in Stephen Knight's 1976 book, The Ripper. A final solution and a fiction like the film From Hell. This theory posits, I don't say that right, posits that Prince Albert Victor, which is also named Eddie, that's Queen Victoria's grandson, had a secret illegitimate child with a Whitechapel woman.
Bloody hell.
And the murders were carried out by the agents of the crown. Now, this is including the royal physician, Sir William Gull. I don't know if you know about him, but he could go up the back end like nobody's business. He was real good at it. But he sometimes used two fingers. He would eliminate.
That's not in the
witnesses-
notes.
Well, I know, but I'm just telling you from experience with Sir William Gull. I've been over that table before. To eliminate, I don't know why it says here, but it says it with Masonic rituals. That's what I'm talking about. He put them over the table, get two fingers in, and then ask them who their mom was. So it's a wild tale involving a coach and accomplices, essentially turning the Ripper murders into a cover-up assassination plot.
Okay.
Almost all serious historians dismiss this theory as a complete invention, which records show that Prince Eddie wasn't even in London on the murder dates, which anybody can get an alibi if they're powerful enough. So they could just pay for that, right? He's already there. But the theory source was largely an unreliable man who claimed secret knowledge, but it gained pop culture. The royals' conspiracy's strength is its drama, but its weakness is being inconsistent with the basic facts and relying on unelaborated, unproven claims. It survives as a lurid legend, but has no credible evidence behind it, but I think he did it. I'm just saying. I think he was there, he hated hookers, and he had an illegitimate child with one of them and tried to cut him up and pull the child out.
Yep. Dozens of other suspects and name over the years.
It just floated right in there.
From famous Victorian painter Walter Sickert, accused by novelist Patricia Cornwell, who suggested that Sickert's paintings and some partial DNA evidence letters tied him in, a theory widely doubted, to James Maybrick, a Liverpool cotton merchant who alleged diary confessing to the murder surfaced in 1990s. The diary's authenticity is highly contested. There's also Thomas Cutbush.
Did you just say cockbush?
Cutbush?
Cutbush.
There's
A
one thing I
violent
like
young
on
man.
hookers is a cut bush.
A violent young man who stabbed women in the backside in 1891 and was suggested by the newspapers as the Ripper.
Oh.
But police at the time refuted that vigorously. We have Charles Litchmore, a.k.a. Charles Cross, the car man who found Polly Nichols' body. A recent theory speculates that the Discoverer was actually the killer who got surprised by another passerby and pretended just to have found the body. It's an intriguing scenario, but ultimately speculative, counting on timing and behavior interpretations rather than hard evidence. So, there you go. We got a ton more info, but whatever.
Dang.
That's Jack the Ripper, everybody.
I'll just end it with it. Jack the Ripper's crimes became infamous not just because of the brutality, but because they represented deeper anxieties of the time, urban crime, poverty, the failure of authorities, and the dark side of London's rapid growth.
Oh, my
Speaking of growth, I got one on my left testicle. It's not looking too good, boys, but if y'all want to give me an exam later, I'll gladly let you.
Is that your grumper voice?
It is.
Is he back?
Are we doing any?
We doing any drugs later?
Are we doing any singing?
Oh, no, we haven't planned on singing. By the way, no, we haven't planned on singing, but we are probably going to bring that back. I haven't got any prepped.
Or let us know if you want us to do anything else.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Or the listeners? What are
The
you
listeners.
Well, yeah, the listeners have been saying, "Hey, I love the karaoke."
We could do like Mad Libs or something.
What's that?
I don't know.
You don't know what a Mad Lib is?
I do.
What is it?
I don't want to just explain it.
Okay.
It's
Is that offline?
Mad Libs aren't funny if you have to explain them.
No, they're
really?
not.
Yeah.
So I'll never know what I got to
No,
look
it's
it up,
like
Jamie.
it's like if I'll explain, it's not gonna be funny, but it'd be like it gives you a list, like give me an adjective, and you're like, blah, give me a verb, and you say poop, and and it's like you take all these things
and then you sing it.
and then you put it into a
A pre-made story,
A pre-made
which
story.
has these particular things, and
Okay.
then you read it, and it's always funny because you always choose like the guy went to go pooping, and he slipped on some cheese, and
and he ate a
Stuff like
toilet.
And do you
Yeah.
read this like in a
Yes.
stories form?
Yeah.
Hey, this sounds like we should do this.
No.
I think Jason
He
needs
ate
to
some
write the
cheese.
Mad
Oh, let's see
After he
here.
wakes up.
Make sure you visit our website, bottomofthat.com. We'll post all of our show note materials there and anything else. You can also follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter. That's not Twitter, it's X. But for some reason, it always says Twitter in my brain. TikTok,
Tickety tock.
Instagram. If you're listening on YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute, and like this episode, do me a favor, share, subscribe, like, leave a comment. This will help the algorithm put this up in front of other people that is searching for this kind of content. And if you're on any kind of just audio podcasting platform, do me a favor, click the follow button, click the bell so you never miss when we publish an episode. Also, if you're on Apple Podcasts, give us a review and give us a 5-star rating. If you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. And if you didn't like this episode of Jack the Ripper, thanks for hanging this long. If you're still
What is
listening
it?
to
What's
this,
our time?
we're at 1:12.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of standard, but
Yeah,
anyway.
okay.
Just seemed longer.
Yeah, and if you want to send Curtis a hat, what's that address, real quick?
Seems so much longer.
P.O. Box
What are you trying to say,
68,
man?
Peculiar,
No, it was
Missouri
good. It was really good.
64078.
In depth.
It was a deep dive.
Well, anyway, I appreciate it. That was Jack the Ripper. You guys got anything else?
Tune in next time when you hear Joey say.
Jack, the Ripper.
The Beanstalk.
Jack the Beanstalk.
Jack the Nephilim.
Jack.
All right.